I bet Spock would be an amazing real estate investor. Hey, everybody, welcome to Real Estate Revenue. I'm your host, Paul Larry, and in this episode, we're going to talk about Star Trek, one of my favorite shows. I grew up watching the reruns of the original Star Trek series, and a lot of the different shows that came out, a lot of the spin-offs after that, Star Trek Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Enterprise. And I have always been a fan of Spock. He's always been my favorite character in all the Star Trek shows. And I got to thinking, my wife and I have been watching the newer ones here recently that's streaming on Paramount, Picard, and Strange New Worlds. And I found out something very shocking about my wife during this. She's never watched Star Trek ever. And I just thought she maybe just wasn't a fan of Star Trek. I didn't realize she had never seen it before, never watched it. So I've been having to fill in a lot of the history of the characters, a lot of the backstories, and get her caught up on who's who. And I mean, she's always, she's asking questions like, "Well, who's LaForge? Who's Spock? What, who's Worf? What did he do?" And so I've had to go back and fill all that in and give some history and some of the. So we started also watching the old original Star Trek series to catch her up. And so the point of this story is I got to thinking about Spock and what kind of a real estate investor he would make. And some of the things that I have talked about on previous episodes. And here's why I think he would make a fantastic real estate investor. I think he would be amazing at it. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. Number 1, he's logical. Logic. Of course, he's logical. Vulcans dedicate their lives to logic, and this is something that is absolutely necessary in commercial real estate investing. Without this, you're done in real estate investing. In fact, without any of these 3 things that I'm going to tell you about, you're done in real estate investing. You're just not going to go anywhere. Logic is one of them. It would not be logical to buy a property that had $5,000 a month in expenses if all the rent you can get out of that is $5,000 or less. If you don't get more rent than you have expenses, it is not logical to buy the property.
Flawlessly logical.
And yet, many people have done just that. Believe it or not, many people out there have bought properties and ended up with a negative cash flow. That is not logical. So logic plays an important part in real estate investing. And that leads me to the number 2 thing that you have to look at, and that is math. Now, math in real estate is very simple, but you have to have it. You have to use it. You can't do without it. There are some very simple equations that you have to use in real estate, simple mathematical equations to calculate whether or not buying a property is logical, to calculate whether or not it's something that you want to do, is something you're going to make a profit on and you're not going to lose money on. It's simple, basic math. Everyone can do it. If you can't do it, I bet you know somebody who can help you with it. All you need is a pencil, a notepad, and a calculator. Now, many people in real estate many people in life actually, but I see it a lot in real estate. They are spreadsheet addicts. They are addicted to spreadsheets. If you're addicted to spreadsheets, you need an intervention. You need to get away from that and just pick up a simple calculator and a notepad. That's all you need. We're talking about addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It's easier to do than it is to say, apparently. All you have to do is to make sure that your expenses are not higher than your income on a property. You have to make sure that you're going to have a positive cash flow. You have to be able to calculate where your break-even point is. You have to be able to calculate whether or not you're going to make a profit on a property. and calculate how much cash reserves you need if your tenant moves out, and so on and so forth. You do not need a spreadsheet. They put things in these spreadsheets, calculations and equations that most investors never even understand, much less use. If you're buying a 20-story high-rise office building or apartment building, then yeah, you might need some of that. But you know what? Get your accountant to do it. And if you're buying something like that and you don't have a CPA, then you got no business buying that property. Get an accountant to go through that stuff with you. You don't need a spreadsheet. And if you're buying something like that, you don't want to rely on your spreadsheet and your calculations. You want a CPA looking at it. The kind of properties we talk about on this show, small properties, they don't require a lot of complicated math, and you can do that yourself. And if you want, go get your CPA to go over your math with you. Make sure you're doing it right. And trust me, your lender is going to go over it whether you want him to or not. Your lender, if he finds something off in there, he's going to tell you, he's going to call you up and say, look, this isn't going to work. And so, you forget the spreadsheet. You know what the spreadsheet does? It causes indecision. I have seen more deals ruined by people having indecision, hesitation, because their spreadsheet didn't give them permission to buy a property. The spreadsheet is in control for those people. Don't be that person. Don't let the spreadsheet control your life. You make the decisions. If you hesitate, if you are indecisive and you hesitate, you lose. Just remember, the road to hesitation is paved with flattened squirrels. That's one of my favorite quotes. I have no idea who said it. I think it's funny. It's true. But just remember that next time you have a hard time making a decision about anything, when you go out to dinner, if you can't decide what to eat, just think about that saying. The road to hesitation is paved with flattened squirrels. And just make a decision. So Spock is all about the math. He loves math. He uses math. He's good at it. And he's very methodical with everything too. And so that's part of it. You have to be methodical in real estate investing, do all your due diligence. And that is something that Spock would be very good at. But the math is so important. It's so simple, but it's important. And that's the second thing that would make him an excellent real estate investor. And you should do that too. Everyone should try to be more like Spock. If you're investing in real estate, watch Star Trek. Try to be more like Spock. So the third thing that would make Spock an outstanding real estate investor is emotions. He doesn't have them.
I'm in control of my emotions.
And you know what? You shouldn't either. If you're investing in real estate, especially commercial real estate, if you're investing in real estate and you let your emotions get involved in the deal, you're going to lose. You are screwed if your emotions take over your transactions. Do not let that happen. Your emotions will kill your deal. It will make you do stupid things, and we don't want to do stupid stuff. We don't like stupid stuff in real estate. Those are the things that make you forget about logic. You get your emotions involved, you forget about the logic, you forget about the math. That screws up everything. You do stupid things like buy negative cash flow buildings. You don't want to do that. Be smart. Be like Spock. Don't have emotions. I don't care how much you love a property, how much you love the way that building looks. If you're buying houses, people get so emotional over houses. It's because we grew up in houses. It's our comfort zone, and we're familiar with them. I don't care how much you love that house. Just put that out of your mind. Do the math. People have bought some horrible houses. They've made horrible deals on houses. They're on their home even because of their emotions. You ever see the movie Money Pit? Look what that did to their lives. It was an emotional purchase. They wanted that house so bad, and when they got into it, it started falling apart. So keep your emotions out of it. Now, luckily in that movie, it turned out good for them, but it almost destroyed their marriage and almost bankrupted the couple. So emotions kill real estate deals. Emotions kill profit. Do not let your emotions control your mind, control your decisions. Keep it logical. Use the math. Keep the emotions out of it. So, watch Star Trek. Everybody, if you're an investor in real estate, try to be more like Spock. You'll go a lot farther, trust me. And do not be like Dr. McCoy. He's a little bit over emotional about things, and Spock's always there to tell him and remind him of that. So keep your emotions in check. If you don't know about logic, learn about it. If you don't know about the math in real estate, learn about that. So that's it for this episode. And live long and prosper. And I'll talk to you next time on Real Estate Revenue.